What's up, everybody? This is Stroke Franco, CEO of Scott Bellis, and today we're going to talk about how the music industry works, today's music business and production best practices. Make sure you follow us at Scott Bellis, and make sure you check out our website at www.scottbellis.com. So, this tutorial is designed to be a guide for anyone involved in today's music and audio industry. So if you create and release music, then this course is for you, or this tutorial is for you. And the book and our kit that we sell on our website is for you. If you're a musician, a manager, a producer, if you're involved in the music industry in any way, shape, or form, and you want to understand the business, or you want to run your own music business and be a music business entrepreneur, then I would recommend you check out our website and check out our book and check out our kit. So, more about the music industry. So, professionals in the music industry actually touch a lot of different sectors, from accounting to entertainment and even manufacturing. And you think about it, there's a lot of different sectors within any industry. But the music industry is a very large industry, and you need to be aware of all these sectors because you need to know what people, make it work. So I'm sure you heard or heard the term works like a well-oiled machine. The music industry is a machine made up of multiple moving parts. It includes producers, musicians, artists, engineers, videographers, agents, managers, graphic designers, and others. So you can see that there are a lot of different moving parts in the music industry. In order to be successful, you need to work with these professionals, and you need to learn these actual skills. So you'll have to wear a couple of different hats. The music industry works off the same pillars of success as any other business. The main goal of any business is to turn as much profit as possible off each product it sells. So each unit of product that a business sells, they want to get the maximum return on investment. In our case, music is that product. So your overhead shouldn't exceed how much you receive in profit when you are able to sell or make money off your music, just like any other business. Today, the music industry is made up of 5 main top key players. These players are the publishing companies, record companies or labels, radio companies, live music promo companies, and digital music service providers. So the digital music service providers are fairly new to the game, but they've been around for a while. But as far as main key players, they definitely make this list. You think about Spotify, you think about Apple Music, you think about YouTube Music. All of these services are where people are going, consumers are going, and they're listening to music. They're streaming music more and more. So digital music service providers are definitely top players in the music industry now. In the music industry, contracts are king. You probably should know this from any transaction in your life, but all transactions in the music industry are normally in written form. So contracts, legal agreements. Signing a legal agreement with a major or an independent is just like signing for a loan, in my opinion. From my perspective, if you sign for a loan and you receive funds for that loan, you normally have to pay that loan back with interest. So depending on your agreement, you may have to pay that loan back, which is your record contract, any advances, anything that has to be what they say recouped. And that may come with other penalties and stipulations. So keep in mind that when you sign any agreement with any investor, any organizations in any firm, any company that says they're going to invest in you or invest in your company, then you got to look at it just like a business, and you have to make sure that you have those contracts in place so you can make sure that you get paid. So the music industry was originally built on exploiting uneducated people. Due to technology and resources like this one here, there's a lot of knowledge available to empower you and limit that exploitation. You're going to get exploited. That's part of the industry. That's just like when you go to work. You work at McDonald's, wherever you work at. You know, they're exploiting your skill set, your time, and your energy to help that company succeed, and they're giving you compensation. So it's no different with the music. They're exploiting your music, so you know you can make you some compensation, and you can also make them some compensation. So today you have access to knowledge and resources to run your own record label and create and commercially release your own music. So you can invest in your own budget today with the resources available, like CD Baby, DistroKid, you know, other what they call aggregators. You can create your own music, release your own music on and get your music on multiple platforms like Spotify, YouTube Music, all over the globe, internationally, not just domestically, but internationally. So you can invest in yourself, you can create your own budget, you can create your own music, and you can release your own music, just like the majors can. So now that puts you in a position to still work with major labels and other independent labels as well, or investors, anyone that you choose, because if you know the business and you understand how the music industry works, now that puts you in a position where you can have an intelligent conversation with that other person or that other company, and you all can come to an agreement where you all can do a joint venture, you can do a partnership, you can have something set up to where a company receives points off of your music, you can license your music. Getting a little ahead of myself, but we're going to talk about licensing more in a moment. But if you know the business and you understand the industry, that just basically puts you in a position so now you can go out here and you can make deals, and good deals. So in order to sell anything in the music industry, you need to own it first, or at least have permission to sell it on behalf of someone else. IP, intellectual property, if you've never heard of that, and that's basically the owner of something that gets created, or the owner. You could be the owner of something that was created via a copyright assignment or transfer, meaning like someone else created it and then you become the owner because that copyright was transferred to you. So if you want to sell anything, you know, you need to make sure you own it, or you need to have the proper paperwork in place so that you have clearance to sell whatever that is, whether it's music or not. So whoever owns the music is considered the copyright owner. Now I'm gonna back up a little bit and I'm going to mention the author. So when you create something, let's say you create a song, you're also the author of that song, meaning you created that song and you're also the copyright owner because you created that song. Just because you're the copyright owner does not mean you're the author. They could be two different people. You can create the song and be the author, and then you can transfer or assign your copyright to someone else or another company, and now that company becomes the copyright owner, but you would remain the author. So remember that. So one single music track actually has two distinct copyrights. You have the musical composition, i.e. the song, and the sound recording, i.e. the master. You may have seen in films like Cadillac Records and other films where artists are mentioning they want copyrights, or they want access to their masters. They want to own their masters. So the masters are the sound recording. The sound recording is anything that you put on a medium, like a CD, a MP3. It could be a WAV file. You know, once you put it in a tangible medium, your song, your lyrics, your beat, whatever it is, you know, that now becomes a sound recording. Before it becomes a sound recording, it's usually a what they call a composition. But there's two major music industry business models that you need to understand and need to be aware of. And these are record companies and publishing companies. So these are two totally different business models that exist that work together to make money. They are similar, but at the same time, you need to understand that if you plan on creating a publishing company, then there's some things you might want to do a little different than if you want to create a record company or label. And you can be all inclusive like Sky Bellis, and you know we do both. Under the record company business model, the goal is to make money off selling recorded music or masters. So recording companies can also place or license recorded music with other entities for a fee, and they generate revenue off of this fee. So as a record company, or as a record label, you can record music and you try to sell it, you try to license it. That's your business model. That's how you would like to make your money. Everybody wants to make some money. So under the publishing company business model, the goal is to make money off placing, aka licensing, a composition. I mentioned the composition a little bit earlier, so I'll go ahead and mention a composition is the musical elements that are behind I'm not gonna say a song, because a song is a composition, but behind the music. For instance, Big K.R.I.T. Mind Control. If you wrote the lyrics, you wrote the melody on the staff, and you arranged everything and you set everything up, but you didn't lay any lyrics, you didn't lay any hook, you didn't record anything in the studio, you didn't produce the beat, but you had the musical elements and everything that were in place for Big K.R.I.T. to go in the studio and record that song, then you would own the composition, or you would be the author of the composition at that point. And once that composition gets recorded and is on a CD or on an MP3, then it becomes the master. That's the recorded copyright piece that we talked about earlier. So you got to understand compositions and masters first and foremost if you want to understand the music industry. The main departments that make up a record or publishing company are legal, business affairs, finance, artists and repertoire, or A&R, promotion and marketing. I lump those into the same category, but sometimes they could be two different departments. Publicity, new media, sales, international, art, and administration. So the main income sources available for music creators in the music industry today mostly come from live events and tours. When you go to a festival, you go to a concert, that's big money. Big money. Licensing. If someone wants to use a song, you could tell them pony up. You can charge them a fee. Say, hey, here's what you can use my song in the next Fast and Furious movie, but here's what I need. So you can get paid per movie, one substantial fee. However you work that's all in the paperwork. Music retail sales. So music retail sales can be something simple as someone downloading your song. Merchandise and endorsements, that can be something simple as you in a commercial for a clothing company, or your face on the front of an image that a company like a fragrance company uses to sell their cologne or their perfume. Whenever they pair you and your audience with that product and they leverage your name or your brand to sell, you can make money off of that. Payments made to an artist, producer, or any other person involved in creating and selling music and/or having copyright ownership stake in that music are called royalties and points. So basically, royalties are a little different than points, but I lump them into the same category because they're used, the terminology is used freely in the music industry. But if you look up what a royalty is in the dictionary, royalty would be paid to an owner or an author or someone who pretty much has the copyright to, let's just say, a song. And you would pay that person a royalty because they own that song. That's their song, you're trying to use it, and you will owe them a royalty because they own it. Now, a point can be paid to anyone. A point can be paid to an investor. A point can be paid to a producer. A point can be paid to someone who has no authorship or no ownership in the song, but they just may be part of a company, part of the movement, part of the marketing, part of anything. So that's all in the contract. It all depends on the paperwork what you have. Just like lawyers say, everything depends. But I do want to clarify that there's a difference between a royalty and a point. But they are used freely and interchangeably in the industry. So let's talk about how royalties flow. So this is very important. This diagram is based off a Spotify stream, and it's based off an interactive stream. First and foremost, you need to know the difference between an interactive stream and a non-interactive stream. So an interactive stream would be you pick it, you play it. So if you want to hear Big Crit Mind Control, you go on to Spotify and you click on play, and there goes Big Crit. You hear the song you want to hear, Mind Control. That would be an interactive stream because you picked the song to play just like a jukebox, and you said play. A non-interactive stream would be something more like a Pandora digital radio station, where you might put in the artist Big Crit, and then you want to hear Mind Control. You say Big Crit Mind Control, but the song that it plays is, UGK, whatever. So you may hear the Big Crit Mind Control song within that shuffle of songs, but you won't hear it right when you want to hear it. So there are two different ways to get paid, and ways that money is actually ways that the money flows, because there's interactive streams and non-interactive streams. So let's talk about interactive streams. So an interactive stream on Spotify, using this example, someone picks your song or picks a song, plays it. It would create 3 different buckets of income, or you could say revenue. So Spotify would pay a performance royalty. That's one bucket. Spotify would pay the record label compensation. That's another bucket. And then Spotify would also pay a mechanical royalty, which is another bucket, for that one song that's streamed interactively. So you got 3 buckets where that money can go to. And keep in mind, this is a high-level example. This isn't including any taxes, any other, type of small or low-level payments that go out. This is basically, if you were releasing your music as an independent artist and you want to understand how that will work, this is a great chart for you to figure that out. So let's start on the left side. All right. Someone played your song. A performance royalty was generated. That performance royalty would get paid to a sound recording owner if that performance was a non-interactive stream. We're going to talk about the non-interactive streams, and we're going to leave that alone because that's really not what this example is for, but it's good to know. So a non-interactive stream, if it was non-interactive, then a payment would be made to the sound recording owner. So that payment would flow through a collection service like Sound Exchange, or an agency or a performance rights organization like Sound Exchange, and they would collect that royalty if the stream was non-interactive, i.e. a digital online radio play, as we discussed earlier, like Pandora. And then if you did have a non-interactive stream, then that money would flow through Sound Exchange. Sound Exchange would pay you. Sound Exchange would pay a featured artist. Sound Exchange would pay any backing musicians. Sound Exchange would pay any background vocalists. You would have to register with Sound Exchange to receive that money. No performance sound recording royalty is required by law to be paid to any entity, since this was a digital interactive stream. So in our example, we're talking about an interactive stream. So if this were a non-interactive stream, then a royalty would be paid to the sound recording rights owner, i.e. the record label normally, and featured artists and backing musician and background vocalists, as mentioned previously. But let's get back focused and let's focus on the interactive stream. So with an interactive stream, you got a performance royalty that's generated. That performance royalty gets paid to the composition owner. But in order for it to reach that composition owner, or whoever has stake in that composition, it would have to be paid to a performance rights organization such as ASCAP or BMI. BMI would then take that money and they would pay the songwriter and the publisher. So the money would be split 2 ways. First, a stream of income would go to the songwriter from ASCAP or BMI, and then they would pay the publisher. So the publisher could be the same person as the songwriter. The songwriter may be the same person as the publisher. But always think about all of this as if you were multiple people. I know it's easy to think about it as you being one entity and one person, one company, one publishing company, one songwriter, one record label. If you're all of this and the above, like Scott Bellis, we do it all, then you could simplify this a lot. But if you think about it like you're wearing multiple hats, so you're the publisher, you're the songwriter, you're the record label, you're the artist, you're the producer. If you think about it like that, then everything really becomes very easy for you to understand, because now you know where where each bucket of money, well, each stream of money will come from, and you could just stand in front of that stream and have your bucket ready to get that money, because I know you want to get to the money. So let's talk about the right side of this chart. So Spotify played your song, you got your performance royalty. Now Spotify has to pay the record label, the record company. So that's a new bucket. So okay, Spotify sends a payment to, or has an agreement, because keep in mind Spotify has to have a license or an agreement with these different entities on this chart so that they can play that music. If it's your music, then you would have had to give them permission to play your music. And if that money goes to your record label, then I just call it the sound recording, because it's easy to understand. The record label normally owns the sound recording, but in independent situations like Scott Bellis, the record company is also the publishing company. So we own the sound recording, we own the composition. So we're the publishing company, we're official publishing company. So we have all of that in place. So if the money flows to the sound recording owner, then it would normally flow to the record label via a collection service. And in our case, we use CD Baby. They're called an aggregator. So we release a song. CD Baby takes that song and they distribute it to all the digital service providers, all the platforms, for you to go out there, or a consumer to go out there and purchase that music, download that music, stream that music. So CD Baby actually has an agreement with these service providers like Spotify. And once Spotify plays or streams a song, in this example, CD Baby would receive compensation for that, and then they have an agreement with the record label, which would be like us, and we would receive a percentage of whatever's left over from what they took. So as you can see, money flows to the record label, and the record label has an agreement with Spotify. But if there's another entity in front of the record label, like an aggregator like CD Baby, then there's another level of compensation involved that has to be split before the record label receives its cut. So I can guarantee you that I don't work for Sony, I don't work for Warner Brothers, I don't work for Universal, I don't work for any of the major 3 record labels out here. But I can pretty much, I would say like 95 to 99%. There's a high probability, 99% probability, I would say, that they have a direct contract or legal agreement with Spotify, to where they don't have anyone in the middle receiving any of their funds, from any streams. So all that money flows down to the record label, and depending upon agreements, as we discussed before, that could be a variety of entities. That could be the same person. That could be a record label, a publisher, an artist, a songwriter, a producer, an investor. You can wear multiple hats here, and that bucket at the end of where all this money flows can be multiple people, and it could be one person, and it could be one company, it could be multiple companies. So let's step over to the right, and we'll see that Spotify also generates what we call a mechanical royalty. And sometimes I've seen charts where they lump the mechanical royalty and the record label compensation just all in the same bucket, just for ease of flow, just to see that, okay, something gets generated and that money has to get paid to the record label and has to get paid to the composition owner. But we're going to talk about mechanical royalties. Mechanical royalties are royalties paid to owner of it could be the owner, it could be the person who has the copyright transferred to them, or it could be someone who has stake in the ownership. Remember, it depends on the contracts, but I'm going to call it the owner. The composition, the person who owns the composition would normally receive the mechanical royalty. And whoever has a copyright to that composition, when you recreate that music or that composition over again, like in a stream for this example, that means that you generated a mechanical royalty. And a mechanical royalty is actually statutory. That's something that was created by law to say, okay, for anyone to use anyone's music, they need to be paid X. So a mechanical royalty is generated by Spotify, and Spotify pays that mechanical royalty to the composition owner normally, and that composition owner would have to have registered with a collection agency or a collection service to receive that mechanical royalty. So that collection service or that collection agency, there's multiple collection agencies, but the main one that everyone knows about is the Harry Fox Agency, HFA. And in order to register with the Harry Fox Agency, there are some stipulations and there are some, some caveats. You can't just go in and say, I want to register, and then they collect your royalties, your mechanical royalties. They have to meet some requirements. So what you could use is an agent in between you and the Harry Fox Agency, like Songtrust. Yes, Songtrust. They're like a mediator or liaison between you and Harry Fox Agency. So then you can receive your mechanical royalties, and you don't have to meet their requirements, but that agent or that middleman will get a cut of your mechanical royalty. So the mechanical royalty is paid to an agency. So Spotify pays the Harry Fox Agency or another agency, whoever they have at that point in time collecting their mechanical royalties for that stream in this example. Then that money goes to the publisher. So the Harry Fox Agency or whatever agency collected that mechanical royalty would pay the publisher. The publisher normally owns the composition or has ownership in the composition. So the publisher should have an agreement with the songwriter to pay or not pay a percentage of the publisher's mechanical royalties received from the song to the songwriter. Also, the songwriter and publisher could be one and the same, as mentioned before. So the publisher pays the songwriter, if that's the agreement, and then the songwriter may also pay someone else. The songwriter may have given some of his ownership up or sacrificed some of his money to be able to put that song out by going into a deal with another investor or someone else. I don't know, it could be his brother or her brother, it could be a father, it could be a company, it could be a firm, it could be an investment firm, So after the songwriter gets his or her cut, they may also have an agreement to pay someone else. So it all depends on the contracts as mentioned. So that's a great breakdown of how a interactive stream works and the payment flow. Now, as I mentioned, if you're a producer, if you're an artist, if you're an engineer, if you're in the music industry at all, then you want to understand it and you want to learn how to turn a profit off of it, I recommend you get our Music Production Essential Kit. It includes the book right here. Great book. The contracts and our sample pack. If you want to make beats, if you're a producer, or you want to be a producer. So make sure you check out our site, scottbellis.com, and follow us on Instagram. And if you have any questions, make sure you hit us up. Just check us out on the site, and also make sure you check out our YouTube channel. So subscribe, like, and until next time, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.